The Mongol Empire, 1206–1368, rise of the largest land empire in history. In the early 13th century, a nomadic warrior from the Central Asian steppes united the scattered Mongol tribes under his leadership and launched a campaign that would reshape the medieval world. That warrior was Temujin, better known as Genghis Khan, and the empire he built, the Mongol Empire, would become the largest contiguous land empire in human history, spanning from Eastern Europe to the Pacific Ocean. This is the story of how a tribal confederation in the grasslands of Mongolia gave rise to an empire that forever changed the course of world history. The unification of the Mongol tribes. Before the Mongol Empire, the Central Asian steppe was fragmented among numerous tribes that frequently warred with one another. In the late 12th century, Temujin, the son of a minor Mongol chieftain, began consolidating power. Through a mix of military brilliance, political alliances, meritocratic leadership, and sheer charisma, he united rival tribes under his rule. In 1206, at a grand assembly known as a Kurultai, Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. This moment marked the formal beginning of the Mongol Empire. Military prowess and strategic innovation. Genghis Khan's success was rooted in his revolutionary military strategies. The Mongol army was highly mobile, composed primarily of expert horse archers, rigorously organized into units of tens, hundreds, and thousands, known for its discipline, intelligence gathering, and psychological warfare. They mastered the use of speed, feigned retreats, and the integration of siege techniques learned from conquered peoples. This allowed the Mongols to defeat more technologically advanced and numerically superior forces across Asia and Europe. Rapid expansion across continents. Between 1206 and 1227, Genghis Khan's death, the Mongols swept across northern China, Central Asia, and into Persia, defeating empires such as the Khwarezmian Dynasty. His successors, particularly Ogedei, Mongke, and Kublai Khan, continued the conquests, expanding the empire to include the rest of China, establishing the Yuan dynasty in 1271, Eastern Europe, raids reaching Poland and Hungary, the Middle East, sacking Baghdad in 1258, Korea, and parts of Southeast Asia. At its height in the late 13th century, the Mongol Empire stretched from the Sea of Japan to the Danube River, encompassing over 24 million square kilometers. Governance, trade, and cultural exchange. Despite their fearsome reputation, the Mongols were also pragmatic rulers. They practiced religious tolerance, allowing Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, and others to worship, freely promoted trade and communication across Eurasia by securing the Silk Road, created a sophisticated postal relay system, YAM, employed talented administrators and craftsmen from conquered regions. This period of relative peace and stability is known as the Pax Mongolica, during which goods, ideas, technologies, and even diseases traveled freely between East and West. Decline and legacy. By the mid-14th century, the vast empire began to fracture into semi-independent khanates due to dynastic disputes, cultural and geographic diversity, plagues and rebellions, notably the Black Death, which spread along trade routes. The central authority weakened, and by 1368, the Mongols were driven out of China by the Ming Dynasty, marking the end of the Yuan dynasty and the Mongol Empire as a unified entity. Yet the legacy of the Mongol Empire endured. It reshaped the geopolitical map of Eurasia, influenced military and administrative practices, facilitated East-West connections centuries before globalization. Conclusion. The rise of the Mongol Empire under Genghis Khan was a historical phenomenon unlike any other. What began as a loose federation of nomadic tribes became the engine of one of the most powerful and far-reaching empires in world history. The Mongols redefined empire building, warfare, and diplomacy, and their impact can still be felt in the histories of China, Russia, the Middle East, and beyond.